How's it going, guys? I am that socially awkward gamer you probably forgot existed, otherwise known as IAmPattyJack, and welcome to Second Impressions. We're doing Bad Company 2 today because I really want to talk about this game. Now, a lot of people know that I am very into the Battlefield series. I have been since like Battlefield Vietnam came out way back when, and yeah, there's an actual standalone game called Battlefield Vietnam. Some people don't know that, but so if you don't, there actually was. And since then, I've been so into the series, and it's also been no secret that I don't really enjoy the newer games as much, aside from Bad Company 2. And to this day, Bad Company 2 is probably my favorite entry in the Battlefield series, and I'm going to explain why. I'm just going to talk about the game and give like, God, it's been 4 years since this game came out. Yeah, this game came out in 2010, I believe. And I can't believe it's been that long. So yeah, we're just going to jump into a game here. We're going to play on Vietnam because the Vietnam servers are great. Honestly, Vietnam is one of the best expansions I've ever played. It made a lot of improvements on the base game and in like the technical standpoints and stuff, so, you know. So I really do just enjoy this game a lot more than, say, Battlefield 4. I don't mind Battlefield 3 now. That game I feel has improved a lot since it came out. But Battlefield 4, in the months it's been out, has been extremely disappointing in my opinion because of a bunch of different reasons. Most notably just all the glitches that are happening. And to me, it's just not a playable game. And I feel like I was very ripped off when I put down $100 for the game, but I'm not here to bitch about Battlefield 4. I have done that plenty already. So we're talking about Bad Company 2. And why is this a great game? I feel that one of the best things about this game are the smoothness in which all of the aiming and all the gameplay works, and even how the game runs. This game runs incredibly smooth compared to the newer Battlefields. And a lot of that's partially due to maybe a bit of a lower graphical fidelity, but what that does is it just makes everything feel a hell of a lot better. The smaller player count helps a lot as well. Trying to talk and shoot doesn't work sometimes. The smaller player count helps because 32 is a lot more manageable for a server than, say, 64 is. And the maps are a lot smaller too. The maps are laid out a lot better as well. Our team is kind of dominating right now, so I don't feel good about this. And I missed that shot, so now I feel even worse. Get out of here. I like the sniper rifles in this game. They have a lot of punch. So, yeah, another big thing that really makes this game fantastic is the map design. All of the maps, especially the Rush maps, I feel that Rush was really... It really became one of the go-to modes in this game, rather than in Battlefield 3 and 4. I realized it was originally introduced in Bad Company, but in this game it really became like one of the very, even probably one of the most, like the favored mode in this game, I feel, is Rush. And a lot of that's due to the maps and how they were laid out. All the maps for Rush in this game were set up in a way so you had at least 3 to 4 different ways of getting to the objective on most maps. There are certain maps like, say, Isla Innocente, that you might have only had 1 or 2, but it still gave you options. One of the big problems with the newer ones is, especially in Battlefield 4, is that they don't give you enough options in how you approach the map, especially in Rush. So what happens is they make the maps too small, or they only let you go in one direction to get to it. I think it's, what's it called? It's the one at the resort. That's a terrible Rush map because you literally have to take a boat or a helicopter straight forward to the objectives, and the enemy spawns right behind them. And it makes the game unplayable. I've only ever gotten past that set of objectives once because it's just so imbalanced. And every map in the newer ones seems to be like that. But Bad Company 2 seems to have found a really good balance between giving you lots of options in the map and still having it feel like an open map and not like a corridor shooter. And that's what I really liked about it. You know, this game, it allowed you to do whatever you want, but it kept it confined rather than giving you like a big open space with not a whole lot in it. As opposed to some of the newer entries in the series. Now, let's talk about the gunplay, because that obviously makes a first-person shooter. Now, how is the gunplay in Bad Company 2? And you're seeing it right now. You see me use a sniper rifle and pop people in the head. It's incredibly smooth, and it feels great. There is nigh another game that I feel manages to have such impactful yet easy-to-use gunplay. This game, like every shot you take, it feels like it's got some punch behind it. You can be super accurate with it, and it really rewards skill more than I'd say the newer entries do. Ah, come on. Can I get this guy out of the boat? Yes, I can! Oh, that was a nice shot, actually. I'm really proud of myself. This M40 I'm using is a beast as well, so we're also spawn camping these guys, kind of, and I feel kind of bad. Normally I don't do this, but since I'm trying to record, it's probably easier for me to do it. Oh, hi! Yeah, you can quickscope, and it's effective, but it doesn't feel overpowered. Like, that guy very nearly took me down, but the only reason I really got him was because he wasn't aiming at me initially. And that guy doesn't have a shoulder. I'm not sure that was a headshot. I think that was more of a shoulder shot, but whatever. So, the general gameplay in the game, it feels really smooth. It feels like you need a lot of skill in order to be efficient at it. And I would argue that in the new ones, a lot of the gameplay is run and shoot in kind of this Call of Duty-esque style. And I'm not saying that to say that's a bad style. In my opinion, it's not a Battlefield style, though. And it's just not as fun to me. I'd rather have to adapt to my situations, and I feel like you do that a lot more in this game than you would in another one. Let's switch up our class here. Let's go use a shotgun, maybe? Now, let's go for, yeah, let's use an AK-47. That's a great standby. And again, to go with the map layouts, the vehicles are so much better in this game. I mean, okay, granted the tanks may not run quite as smoothly. They might get stuck on the geometry a bit more, but the vehicle balance is what is way better. Because in Battlefield 4, it is so notorious for this game, for Battlefield 4 that is, there are too many vehicle spawns, and what ends up happening on the Conquest maps is you get just tons of vehicles everywhere, and you can't fight them off. I'm all for vehicles. I love vehicles. They're great, and they're fun to use, but this game limits it to about maybe 2 tanks per side at the most, and then maybe like 3 or 4 Jeeps, and maybe like an armored up Humvee. And that's plenty. We don't need like 6 or 7 tanks running around, even if it's 64 players. You need to have that balance, because otherwise the tanks will just run rampant over everyone. And you end up with a bunch of snipers that are camping around, or all the infantry can't go throughout the map, and instead they end up in like the same small little area. And you end up in a position where you have to run and gun, and you just kind of like spawn and die over and over again. Now, I realize I'm kind of going back to the whole new games versus this one a lot. And I'm going to have to, because that's how I compare it. They're both games in the series, so, you know. Okay. Now, what do I think about the graphics in this game? I think they're great. I mean, they hold up pretty well in this day and age. I mean, this game is 4 years old. This game is 4 years old now. And I'd say it still looks pretty good. But, like, I don't know. It looks good, but it by no means looks great. At the time it came out, it looked awesome. But nowadays we got games like, say, Battlefield 4 or Crisis, etc. You know, like, we expect more from our games nowadays. So, in the graphical department, I don't think it's held up, but you can't really expect it to. Okay. Now, what has held up extremely well, and I still consider it to be the best maybe I've ever heard, is the sound design in this game. Every weapon, every sound, every gunshot, every explosion, it sounds absolutely fantastic in this game. I have never played another game, not the new Battlefields, not the old ones, that have mastered sound design as well as they did in this game. God damn it, I missed that guy. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Hi. Need to steal my kills, people. Yeah, the sound design in this game is second to none. One of the best in any game ever, in my humble opinion. Now, yeah, I've praised this game a crap ton so far. In my opinion, it's still worth it. And unfortunately, there are issues with it. And I'm going to start off with the player base. It's not that the player base is bad, it's pretty much average. It's more the fact that there isn't really much of one now. As you probably saw before I joined into this server at the start of the video, there was like 4 active servers. I mean, they've got a few servers for the Vietnam, but there's only like one that was even populated remotely. Come on. Ah, can you kill that guy? Are you kidding me? I'm not good with the assault rifles. I want my sniper rifle back. Yeah, so there aren't that many people playing this game right now. There was literally one almost full server that I joined into for the Vietnam expansion. There's a few more for the regular mode in Bad Company 2, just like the regular vanilla maps that pit the US versus Russia, because, you know, we haven't seen that before. But unfortunately, the player base has wavered a bit, and even a lot of the maps that are still populated, or the servers, I mean, they're usually like 24/7 servers on one map, which isn't what I like to have a rotation of maps personally, but usually you'll find like 24/7 Eureka Harbor, 24/7 Heavy Metal, which is probably the weakest map in the game in my opinion, unless you really, really like tanks and sniping, which I do, but the map is just, it's too big in my opinion. So that's a big fault with the game right now. There just isn't enough people playing. There's a bit of an influx the other month when the game went on sale for like $5 on Origin and everyone started buying it, but it's kind of tapered off since then, and that's really sad because, honestly, I would love to see more people playing this game more often. Trying to find enemies here, but it's not really working out. Now, other issues in this game, there's a few, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say it's like... I love this game, but there are a lot of issues with random glitches in regards to your player movement. Like, say, you'll get stuck on geometry a little bit too much, in my opinion. And then there's weird things like you can't strafe while you're sprinting, which I never understood. So if you... That's a grenade right beside me. If you play a lot of Battlefield 3 or 4, and then you go back to this game, that's another grenade beside me. It's very jarring to go back to this control scheme because you can't, like, strafe while you're sprinting. Your gun models are way bigger, like, ridiculously large. I don't understand what's wrong with that. You can go into the config and change your FOV, but really you shouldn't have to do that. I don't think that's an acceptable thing to do. Although it is fixable at least, so that's something, I guess. That guy just got his ass kicked. Wonderful. And then there's other glitches. A big one that seems to have always been there and has never been addressed is the scoping in glitch, where every now and then when you scope in, it'll zoom you out but keep you scoped in. So instead of getting like that zoom in, it just auto zooms you out again, but it doesn't take the scope screen away, so it like... So when you're trying to line up a shot, it zooms you out and you get all messed up and it can get you killed sometimes. And the weird thing is, it doesn't seem to happen as often in the Vietnam expansion. Huh, couldn't even see that guy. Yeah, but it happens a hell of a lot more in the base game. And that is also combined with, in the base game, a lot of the time your shots won't actually hit. The hit detection has always been a bit of an issue. There have been times where I've shot people multiple times with shotguns, etc., from point-blank range, and seeing their character animation, like, take the hit. Like, they go, ow, or they, like, slightly move their character model when they get shot, but no damage is done. And then they turn around and kill you or something like that. That's always been a problem in the game. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's ever going to be fixed because, you know, it's been 4 years, the DICE has moved on to other games and things like that, but that's a problem. And to me, that really hinders the game, especially the vanilla version, because again, that happens a lot more in the vanilla maps for some reason. It seems like in the Vietnam expansion, they fixed a lot of it, and it still happens, but just not as often. Not at all as often. I don't know why that guy didn't move the first time I shot him. That was weird. People make weird decisions sometimes. So yeah, that's always been an issue. It's never going to be addressed, and we just got to kind of deal with it. And let's see, other glitches that happen. There's probably a few I'm forgetting. Some of the destruction can be weird, but that's kind of like a Battlefield staple at this point. I mean, like, you just saw with that telephone pole. Yeah, this thing. I can, like, kick it like a basketball and slide it wherever I want to. That's always been kind of odd, but that's just part of the engine, really. Why is there a tank mine right there? It's a little confusing, but I'm just going to ignore it and hope it goes away. Actually, is that an enemy tank? There's multiple tank mines. Yeah. Don't think I want to stick around here in case those blow. The destruction in this game is also bar none. This game is the best representation of Battlefield destruction. Like, hands down. It just is. And a lot of that is due to, I think, the smaller player base and the smaller maps, and maybe a bit less oomph in the graphical department, and even how the maps are set up. I mean, in Battlefield 4, you can't realistically expect every skyscraper to be collapsible, because that would put a huge tax on the maps. Come on. Yeah, there we go. But the thing is, in this game, because a lot of the maps took place in like third world countries, rather, they were able to put in a lot more destruction and have you, like, certain maps can just be completely leveled, basically. I got both of those guys there. Wow, I'm quite surprised at that. Yeah, there's certain maps, like, I think Laguna Presa, you can destroy the entire forest if you want to, and it's fantastic. And just the way everything explodes in such a glorious fashion, I feel it really added this sense of warfare to the game that you don't always get in the new one. In Battlefield 4, like, it's alright, but why are you standing? Oh, you're a teammate. His icon did not pop up. Although I should have realized he was kind of like a Vietnamese person, but whatever. Whatever. I shoot first, I ask questions later. That's just how I roll. Yeah, the destruction in this game is fantastic. And I can't spawn anymore because I keep getting shot by this guy hiding in the corner. Seems like every game you play, you can't escape that one guy who hides. Alright. It's actually been a pretty even matchup so far. So, all in all, I feel that this game is, in my opinion, one of the best Battlefield games they've made based on pure gameplay enjoyment. Like, there's certain times where I just get so angry at a game like Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3 because whenever I die or the way I die, etc., or just how the game plays out, it doesn't feel like it's been a fair game due to, say, maybe like a netcode issue, some lag spike, etc. But this game plays a lot more like a traditional old-style FPS where that wasn't really as much of an issue. And all in all, when I get killed in this game, it almost universally feels like it was for a good reason, whereas in the new ones, a lot of the time it doesn't. Okay. Maybe I can get that guy through the building. You can do that, which is helpful, but I don't know where these guys went. I'd rather not stick around and find out, though. Damn it. Yeah, so I think this game really struck a very good sweet spot in the series between the player count, the weapon balance, how the maps are laid out, the vehicle respawn rates, and how many vehicles there are. how long the matches generally take, the destructibility levels, etc. I think that they really just hit their stride with this game. And when they tried to go all out with Battlefield 3, they took out some of the things that made this game, in my opinion, really good. And I think that this was like a really good mix between the old school Battlefield and the new school. So I think they really struck... Yeah, come on. I think they struck gold with this game. And I don't know if it'll ever be replicated, to be honest. Like, is this game so good that everything else is going to pale in comparison to it? I mean, I think that if they were to remake this game, or make like a spiritual successor to it, you know, Bad Company 3, one would hope, that they, instead of looking at Battlefield 4 as their point of inspiration, they would go back and look at this game and see what this game did right. Because I think that'll make a much better experience for the players in the long run, so that's just my opinion. There we go. Let's try to end it off with a headshot. If that wasn't a headshot, whatever, it was still a shot. It killed someone. It's all that matters, right? Okay. So hopefully if they ever do decide to go back to the Bad Company series, they'll take some cues from this game, because this is honestly one of my favorite games ever. Because it's just so good. So if you haven't bought this game already, there's still some activeness in it. You can still go play the vanilla pretty well. Vietnam isn't always populated, so maybe you don't want to start out by getting that expansion as well. But if you feel like buying the game and supporting it later in its life cycle, I think you should, because it's really a fantastic game. That's a tank. It's going to not deal with it. That's what I think. Go buy this game. This is the last, like, really great Battlefield game that's come out. So, I am IAmPattyJack. I will see you guys next time. Peace off.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. I would be super appreciative. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because then you can see all the other awesome content I make. And, did you know I have a shirt store? Because I kind of do. It's down in the description there. So you can just go down there and click the link on every video I put up. And you can go buy like t-shirts and iPhone cases and maybe like a pillowcase so you can rest your head on my divine essence every night. So yeah, go down there and just go buy it, please, because, well, because haircuts like this are not cheap, alright? Let's go do it. Ugh, idiots.